Guys and ladies, I had a couple of questions here regarding how to do the lab activity 3, and it's pretty simple because I'm going to basically give you the entire code, right? I'm going to give you the code, it's right here, and I'm going to post an update in Moodle with the updated instructions that I'm providing right now. Yeah, so there is the code. Now, you remember in class we were getting the little problem here of not a number, and I was curious to see if anybody would be able to crack that nut, but hopefully you at least challenge yourself with it, and if you didn't, here's the answer. So we walk over this text file, right? We walk over our data file that our data system gave us, and the very first thing there is a text. It's not a number. So that's being treated as not a number. So the way to get around that is you use the isFinite function of JavaScript, and you assign that to a checked valid flag because that's either true or false. So if checked valid, meaning if it's finite, meaning if it's not the not a number thing, right? If it is a number, therefore, only then do you accumulate the selling price value which you plucked out of your data structure into your summer variable for sum of all selling prices. I mean, another way you could do it, you could delete that top line because you're not consuming it for everything, but it would be kind of a dorky way to do it. It's not a good way to do it. So the better way is to just handle whatever data file your client's providing with you. So if you run this right now, let's give it a try here. So we'll say save and run. So I'm giving you this code. Now, number of houses, 117. Average of selling prices. Now, you see here, because of the way, and we said JavaScript is not really the good language for handling this. You'd actually do this in Python, which I just did give this exact thing to my Python class as well. But here, because the selling price is coming out in like a 670, and we need it to be 670,000, for example, we're just kludging it by multiplying it by 1,000. But that's okay, because that works. I mean, if you wanted to parse that to just look like a currency without all those fractions of a penny, you could, but I'm not going to make that requirement at this point. So then we just take our total of all the selling prices and we divide it by the count of all the houses sold, and we get a number which would be 670, and then we multiply it by 1,000 because the actual value is 670,000. So anyway, this is what I'm giving you. So in terms of your instructions, which I updated them a bit, you're basically getting 70% if you just take the code I gave you and got it to run. Come on, guys, I honestly cannot make this any simpler. If I could, I would. I just can't think of a way to do that. So the little bit of work for you, and if you don't even do this, it's okay. You'll still get 70%, so that's not too bad. But if you want to get a bit higher, you can study the code and you can give me separate breakouts for detached, semi-detached, and the style of alt townhouse. And remember, when you're parsing over your code, because the way this works is it walks over we built this together in class, so I hope you were paying attention. We walk over the text file, and then each line of the text file, we pull it out, and we use this record to build an object, and we stuff that object into a data structure, a map in JavaScript, and then we walk over that map, we iterate over it, and we pull each object out, and then we look at the fields for the object. For example, there's selling price. So now you can also look at type, and remember, when you look at type, you have to look at what's being encoded in the data structure. So there's detached, and there is alt row townhouse ... and there's semi-detached ... So you just have to do an equivalence operator, like, you can use the double equal sign, or there's a few ways you can, the simple way is probably just to use the double equal sign. And then if a record you pull out is detached, then you just copy and paste the provided code, and you keep track of the number of detached houses sold and the sum of the selling prices, and similarly for semi-detached, and similarly for townhouse. I mean, you probably could make a separate class for that. You probably could do some object-oriented programming, but it would be enough to just demonstrate to me that you understand the code well enough to copy and paste it. So, sorry, I lost my shoe when I'm sitting outside. My foot is cold. Yeah. So anyway, that is it for your lab activity, right? That's your lab activity, and you just take the code and you get it to run. Any other questions? I'll check the email again later on today, but essentially this is all just stuff we've done in class, so I hope it'll be fairly manageable. Anyway, I'm going to go and upload this right now, and then we'll see how people make out with that.